Yeah, but he was saying that it might not be spelled out in the laws, but it was.
I think it is, isn't it?
There is tradition, you know, in terms of. They already know that if you get to a certain level, you could be appointed. These are things that are looked at. Is it the delicate politics that comes to play in the appointment of the IGs?
The only appointment procedure you have, particularly for the IG, is that the police council meets.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it now. Let me read this. Section 2162. Before making an appointment to the office of the Inspector General of Police or removing him from office, the President shall consult the Nigeria Police Council. Isn't this a procedure? It's enshrined in our laws.
But what you have now is an acting capacity. And what has happened over the years is that somebody is appointed an acting capacity. The President convokes a meeting of the Police Council, and the person is ratified. We have not had a situation where that is reversed. But even beyond the convening of a meeting of Police Council, one would want a prescribed requirement for somebody to be appointed into that position. Qualifications, years of service, what the person has done in the field, and have a situation where the National Assembly should have a role in the appointment process. Because even the Police Service Commission and other commissions, you have a situation where the President recommends, the National Assembly sits, and through public hearing, where members of the public who have had encounters with this individual could come and testify as to their good or bad character. And at the end of the day, the National Assembly confirms one. So through that process, the person is appointed, the person who is appointed knows from day one that he or she is accountable to multiple constituencies, you know, that also play a role in the appointment. But in this instance where it's the President that appoints, you will be a foolish IG to do differently from what the President wants. And by the way, Section 9, subsection 4 of the Police Act vests operational control of the police on the President.
But what is it that the President wants, other than the police to be professional in their duties? So if you go there and conduct yourself professionally, will the President or whichever President, will they fault you?
That is the big question. But Section 9, subsection 4 says it vests operational control. Operational is not just policy oversight, it's just you do what I ask you to do. We can have, if you read a compound reading of the law, of course, the issue that once you are appointed to serve the land is the public interest. But the practice of it is that there are loopholes in the law that are always exploited in this kind of situation. And what one hopes with the incoming government, because I keep going back, that we have a government that was elected to do certain things. It was elected to fight corruption, deal with insecurity, and of course youth unemployment. And as far as dealing with security is concerned, if you don't appoint competent persons or have procedure where the most qualified emerges, apart from other consideration, we'll keep having this kind of situation.
But it does bring its own risk. You're asking for security of tenure. In the case where you see that, say, a police officer, for some reason, becomes unruly, you know, uncontrollable, or police IG, as it were, what then do you think that the President does in that case?
So whenever you have a security of tenure, it also has procedure for removal of that person if the person comes short of the calling or the expectation of the appointment. And what we're saying is that removal process should not be arbitrary. It should be known to law. If not, we'll not be speculating as to why was this appointed, was it because of elections or what happened before it. The law would have been clear. And we'll be assessing based on the law, did they follow this procedure? As you and I speak, we have no such framework, and it gives room to the kind of rumor industry we have now.
Well, now there's a lot of focus on the supplementary elections that will happen. I think we have a comment from the acting IGP. I'm hoping they can stand by so we can let you listen to it. We understand he met with the President. He's been speaking about some of those, what did they call them, deviants, I think that's the word he used, that any of those deviants, they will be put in their place. We hear this kind of affirmative statements, tough talk from whoever is new, whichever new IGP we've had, they've always said this kind of thing. So is this the same old line, or it looks as if this acting IGP will put his money where his mouth is?
Well, I have confidence in the acting IG to do creditably well, because this is somebody that has been tested in previous positions and he discharged himself well. But I will also hasten to add that he also needs the enabling environment and the tools to do the work. And that is the area where there has always
What would that be,
been a
the
problem.
tools?
Well, if we want to break it down, in election situation, which is basically a logistic operation, you need the transportation, you need the communications, you need the rules of engagement, you need the supervision to make sure that the people who are deployed, do the work. And while they are in the field, they also need supplies.
He can do all that. It's on his
That's what I'm expecting him. But this is just one isolated election. We have the whole gamut of security challenge that we need in this country. He will do very well in the elections coming tomorrow, because even in the states where the elections are holding, it's just in few places. In Imo State, it's just 3 local government areas. In Taraba, I think about 2 or so. So that is a minor assignment for him. But I'm looking at the larger picture, what he's going to face, because he still have, I think, up to 2,000.
Which of the larger picture is that? Because if after May 29, you think he will still be in the saddle?
Why would he be removed?
Oh.
No, tell me, why would he be removed?
I don't know. I'm not.
Why would he be removed?
We're told that, when the Minister for Information was explaining, the sack of the current, the former IG, she says it's the president's prerogative to hire and fire.
Yeah, but
it's still within the president's prerogative.
I keep going back, that the incoming government is not like the kind of government that we've had in the past. This is a change government that everybody expects to rise above the shenanigans of the moment. And if they remove him on day one of coming into office, then what differentiates them from the one they change? That is where I'm coming from.
If he puts someone who he thinks can work with him, what's wrong with that?
And we will expect them, as a government of change, as a government that Nigerians has invested high hopes, to come up with a procedure that would, at the end of the day, ensure that we don't come back to this kind of thing we're dealing with now, that we're speculating as to why this person was removed. And what I'm saying is that this person has to 2016, about a year or more. So why don't you work with him to put in place those mechanisms that will prevent this arbitrariness? So I will personally be disappointed if he's removed on May 29, and you and I will come again here to discuss why was he removed. Is it because he was appointed by the previous administration? Was he assessed on the basis of merit and competence? What has he done within this period to warrant this? It's unfortunate that this individual who didn't ask to be appointed at this particular point in time is in the middle of this. And one would expect maturity and rising above the politics of the moment.
So on the basis of merit, you think he's A-okay?
He's eminently qualified. He's eminently qualified to do the job.
Okay, but you know that while we had the transition from the, not the former IGP, the one before the former IGP to this one, while all that was going on, the stop and checks returned on the streets. And Nigerians thought, well, wait a minute, what's happening? Who's going to make a policy statement on this? What do we mean? Is it motorized, stop and check? Is it all sorts of names? But they are back on the streets.
You see, this is the kind of thing a legal framework deals with. It was a policy put in place by MD Abubakar. And once he completed his tenure and left, there's nothing that obliges the successor to do this or to continue with that policy. The person comes with his own policy. But if you have the kind of law like they have in the UK, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act of 1984, that prescribes that if you stop somebody, you must fill a form that states the reason why that person was stopped and searched. And if the person feels dissatisfied, the person can report. In the absence of such a legal framework, any succeeding IG will come and unfold his or her own agenda.
Because the thing is, there are many countries where you go, you don't have this, they jump in the middle in front of your car while you're speeding, and God help you if you're just trying to maybe something happened in the home front, you're not paying attention, and then you just run into the police officer. It will be unfortunate, but
highly unfortunate.
You think that
created by the arbitrariness of the moment.
But this incoming government, in their manifesto, they spoke about state police, restructuring the police force.
I don't think they spoke about state police because I've read the
no, we interviewed some of them here, and they said yes,
I
something
like
we subscribe to.
Yeah, I mean, many of them, particularly the ACN, one of the legacy parties, was strong on that. But if you read my covenant with Nigeria, it actually talks about security of tenure, granting prosecutorial independence, financial independence to law enforcement and security agencies. And one would expect them to implement that, because if they implement that, especially for the police, which is a key arm of the anti-corruption agencies in the country, that will go a long way in reassuring whoever is there. Because the current acting IG may be thinking, oh, I have only 40 days. What am I going to do within this period? And after tomorrow's election, he might start relaxing. But he needs to be encouraged that, look, if you do this job well, you cannot just be removed because somebody wants to
Do you think it would be a good idea? Because also when we spoke with Mr. Delalake and Dr. Kadifami, they think it's not a bad idea to have some sort of reforms in that police department. Would it be a bad idea if they reverted to regional policing or state?
Actually, I'm a proponent of that. In the civil society panel that I was involved in as technical advisor, it was one of the recommendations. It would be a state police. We should go for a state police system governed by national law. And what do I mean governed by national law? The National Assembly will come up with an act prescribing procedure for setting up such a police force, how it should be run. And the key thing for me is that for any state to be licensed to set up a state police, the personnel of that police force should reflect the diversity of the state in question. Because one recipe of getting it wrong is that you come, say for instance, in a place like Lagos State, and you have a state police that is that the personnel that are appointed is done like any other state agency, only people from Lagos State or people from particular area. Before, even without doing anything wrong on the police, in the public place, they will be perceived as biased, because within their rank, it's made up of people from particular area. So yes, I am for state police, but we need to carefully craft a legal framework, taking cognizance of our diversity and the deep division in the country, and putting in place a framework that will reassure all Nigerians that wherever you're living, that the state police, when set up, will be there for all.
Thank you very much indeed for coming on. Innocent Chukwuma is the country representative for Ford Foundation. We'll be back after the break. Join us again.